Hi, welcome back to Vondel, Pete. I hope you're all doing very well. Now, years before I decided to get into MBTI and base my entire personality around being an INFP, I actually had attempted much earlier on in my life, when I was about 25 years old, when I was younger, so much younger than today. I decided to base my entire personality around the fact that I was a right hemispheric thinker, as in how the left and the right hemispheres of the brain are divided. I don't know if you've heard about that. I think a lot of people have heard about that. At the time, there was this test going around 2008, 2009, where you could look at this website and they would have a spinning ballerina. And if you perceived it to be going clockwise, apparently it meant that you were using the right hemisphere of your brain more, meaning you were more abstract and creative. And if you perceived the ballerina to be going anti-clockwise, it meant that you were more logical, more just smarter. I don't think there's too much validity in these little tests that were going around. There was another test where apparently if you clasp your hands together and the right thumb goes over the left, it also means that you're a left hemispheric person. And that's how I do it. So apparently, I don't know if I use the right or the left hemisphere of my brain more, because according to that test, apparently I'm very logical and practical, and you can't argue with that. That is just pure facts. But anyway, I think all these tests might be a bit bullshit, and if you really want to get into the left and the right hemispheres of the brain and what it really means, because there is actual neuroscience backing that up, you just have to read this book and books by Ian McGilchrist. I think, this is a very famous book now. It's only been around for a few years, but it's great. The Divided Brain and the Making of the Western World. This is a really good book. It actually says what's actually going on with the difference between the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. Like, it's not about creativity versus logic, or it's not that simple. It's very complicated. And but yeah, I won't get into that. Just check out that book, or at least look at him on YouTube, Dr. Ian McGilchrist. But be that as it may, what I wanted to do in this video is show you me as a 25-year-old talking about the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. Now, this video is one of maybe hundreds of videos I made when I was in my mid-20s, where I wanted someone to talk to. I felt very lonely and alienated, as I do now, but at least I've got Vondel Pete to talk to. At the time, I used to just make videos for myself. I thought it might be good to get into the habit of talking, just in general, instead of just blogging all my thoughts or writing diary entries all the time. So this is a personal video diary entry I made when I was 25, talking about me being someone who uses the right hemisphere of his brain more. So let's this is a bit embarrassing, but let's have a look at me as a 25-year-old. And the problem with this computer chair is, oh, it's not this. Hang on. Well, I won't show you. I won't show you. But basically, I put the screws in before I was supposed to put this in. So, I mean, what am I supposed to do? I'm an idiot. I used the right side of the brain rather than the left side. It's Ina. Ina was on Facebook before, and she was showing me basically that some people they showed a picture, a cartoon from the Herald Sun website, and if you look at the ballerina, if she's going clockwise, that way, she's going clockwise. That means that you focus on the right side of the brain, which means you're more imaginative and you're able to get perspective on things and you're able to get it. But most people actually see it going anti-clockwise, which is weird because I couldn't see it going anti-clockwise at all. I looked and I'm like, Anna, I can't do it. And she's like, no, just think logically for a while. I can't think logically. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with my brain, but for some reason I can't think logically. And that's why I can't put a chair together, because my mind is not able to comprehend normal things. Fine, okay, my brain focuses more on the right side. That's great. Some people are more creative, some people are more logical. Well, what happens if you're in a survival situation? The IMAX has gone all weird. You wouldn't know, but it has. So see ya. So of course that video doesn't really do a very good job of describing what the left and the right hemispheres are actually doing. But I think at that time I was really trying to pump myself up to, first of all, I was going to resurrect a comic that I was going to do, and I really wanted to become a much more creative person, and I just started watching a lot of old films at that time in my life, and I started distancing myself from friends, stopped going clubbing. But that video was made before I went to Japan for the first time. After that, though, I did quit my share company job once I went back to Melbourne. I started feeling like I have to actually put in the work to be a bit more creative, soak up more old classic films, expand my music taste, read more books of existential literature, which I did. I went and got all these Sartre and Camus books and I took them with me and I went around Europe for a month in 2010 and it's very pretentious. I was reading Sartre even in Paris. Oh no, I was reading Camus in Paris and Lyon. And then I was reading Sartre in Lithuania and Sweden in Uppsala. I spent 4 hours reading, what's that book? Nausea. 4 hours I sat by a river in Uppsala in Sweden. Have you been to Uppsala, Radish Raven, if you're watching? I don't know. Yeah, reading Sartre's Nausea, and I finished it in Lithuania. And these books left a huge impact on me, I think. As you can imagine, these existential, easy to read existential books which touch on the idea of, especially nausea. I think that book finishes with the main character in it deciding that if you want to actually have some meaning in life, you better become a writer or create a work of art that is transcendent. And I thought, I guess I could make art and creativity my new religion. And it also justified the fact that I had a writing degree at the time, but I wasn't doing any writing, so I felt a lot of shame at the time. But on that trip, I started journaling, like really proper journals about thoughts and feelings about where my life was at, what I was doing, and I would describe as much as I could from what I was seeing when I was traveling around Europe. The book by Mousseau I was reading on that trip was called A Happy Death, which was a sort of like a scrapped manuscript that ended up being rewritten into The Outsider. He wrote it when he was only about 24, 25. I'm probably getting his age wrong when Albert Camus wrote that book, A Happy Death. But it was another great book to read. And in the book, it's set in the 1930s, but he's traveling around Europe and going to Prague, and he's drifting from city to city in Europe, and that's what I was doing as a 25-year-old. So it was a great book to read. I like doing things like that. Sort of like me reading Murakami last year when I was in Japan. So I guess I'll wrap the video up here. I don't really want to talk too much more. I'll just say though, I got into this book, The Master and His Emissary, only a few years ago. And I remember thinking, oh, that's right, the whole left and the right hemisphere thing that had lost its luster over the years, the idea about it. This book is so much better. Everyone loves Dr. Ian McGilchrist, I think. Although if you hate him, let me know in the video. Maybe you don't like his beard. This book's great in terms of making the case that in this algorithm-driven systematic world that we live in, where things are becoming more and more automated, and all these things are associated with the left hemispheres. The idea of just pure data without reason, without meaning, being impulsive and acting on pure sensory pleasures. That's all very left hemispheric, apparently. Whereas the right hemisphere is almost like the stuff that AI can't do. The stuff, that inner voice, the emotions and the spirituality. I mean, emotions are left and right hemispheric, aren't they? He says that sadness is more of a right hemisphere thing and anger is more of a left. He makes a point of proving a lot of this stuff. I don't know. It's all good. It's all good stuff. Just, I don't know. I won't go into it too much more. But me and my friend Kevin are currently, especially my friend Kevin, he's at ISFJ that was in my video last year. He's reading all the books at the moment by Ian McGilchrist, and it's great because he's now, he's being a proper ISFJ and properly lapping it all up. This is his new Bible. And I'm like, you know what? That's if you've got an ISFJ and they decide that their Bible is now this instead of, like a Christian Bible, that's pretty cool, I reckon. I'm pretty happy for him to make that his religion. And he reckons I'm great. He reckons I'm at the forefront. He's like, because he wants the world to become, my ISFJ friend, he wants the world to become more right hemispheric. He's telling me that, the world is filled with spreadsheets, charts, pointless meetings and algorithms, and we need people to save the world by being more right hemispheric. And he tells me that I'm He's like, you're doing this, Peter. You're leading the charge because he says, I'm clearly a right hemispheric person. And apparently, even in the world of music, there's the more beat orientated. Why am I doing that in a video? That music is apparently more left hemispheric, and right hemispheric music is more melancholy. And a lot of world music, if you think of like Arabic music, like or even like those Eastern European Jewish. Is it called the Jewish scale? So anyway, let me know any of your thoughts in the comments and whether you think there's any Myers-Briggs personality types that do tend to use the right hemisphere of their brain more than left. Because you'd assume that INFPs would be more of a right hemispheric type of personality type. But I think it all depends the way you're brought up. There's plenty of INFPs are obsessed with lists and details, and yeah, I guess on the whole they're going to be more right hemispheric. Not always. INFPs use the right hemisphere of their brain more than ISTJs probably. Oh. See you next time.